So we've already chatted a little bit about just little difference makers that will help you with this whole Buoy 10 thing. But Duane, you mentioned before we took a little break that the next guest, Cameron Black, I guess you'd say that he sometimes marches to the beat of a different drummer. I mean, this is a guy who he is. One thing about him that I think you can just say across the board is he's successful in every fishery. I mean,
Doesn't matter what it is.
He does well. He just catches fish everything that he goes after. He does well.
Well, he understands fish. He has a background in fisheries. You know, he worked for WDFW for a while there early on, and Cameron understands fish behavior. And he's one of the guys that other guys look to say, why is he so damn successful? What's he doing different that other guys are or are not doing? And when I talk to him, he drops little things here and there. It's subtle, but it's a difference maker. And even relevant to the tides down there at Buoy 10. Some guys will wait a little longer maybe to get in and go fishing. Cameron's got confidence. He's going to get out there and start fishing when he knows, even though the tide isn't perfect, he's going to go find fish and probably let us know exactly how or why he's able to do so. Morning, Cameron. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, Duane. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You out on the water right now?
We are, and it's finally starting to pop here a little bit. Put a nice king in the box about 10 minutes ago. Guy right next to us here is roping one in right now. So it's been absolutely an amazing start down here. So
let's take a look, Cameron, at the way that this early season has started to develop already. I mean, give us some trends that you've noticed as far as baits, as far as positioning in the tide and so forth. How would you best describe the way this early season has already played out?
Well, we've already had a big transition in the early season because at the start of the season we had really big incoming tides, and a lot of people were afraid to fish the incoming tides, because they were 8 and 9 foot. But knowing what we know from what we were catching out in the ocean and stuff all of July, those kind of tides will flush fish in. And so where you were fishing, August 1st through 4th is completely different now that we've got these soft, nice Chinook outgoing tides. And so the start of the season, we were hammering coho like it was going out of style. Now we're hammering Chinook like it's going out of style. And it's been kind of hard to get both. But right now, if you're coming down here this weekend, it's definitely time to get out some lead and work the sands, in 35 to 15 feet of water. And like I said, be working the bottom and be working that like soft outgoing tide.
When you have that big tide swing, as you mentioned there, Cameron, and the guys want to get out and fish, and I know it's not optimal, but you can be productive.
We got another one on.
Oh,
go ahead. Sorry, we had one.
Okay. Where does the guy need to find? Where do you need to kind of tuck into that you're going to find some production even on these bigger tides? Because obviously we will get back to some bigger tides here after we work through these lesser tides.
True, but I think at that point in time, we'll be late. Oh, and we got one right now. We'll be late enough in this season. No, you guys are fine. I got a deckhand today, so I'm going to keep talking to you. You're looking right up Astoria Bridge, too.
Oh, right
Anyways,
up the bridge,
you're going to the big tides. You're going to want to to really target your slacks, obviously. But on the outgoing tides and stuff like that, you need to be watching your troll speed. Troll speed is absolute key factor in this area. If you're trolling like an area or a lane or a depth, and you're up above 3.5 miles an hour, or you're get him in the net, buddy. Get him in the net. Okay. If you're trolling above 3.5 miles an hour, it's going to be really tough fishing unless you're turned into it and you're, basically back trolling it. If you're trying to be one of these guys that are going to troll with the tide, watch that speed over ground. And like I said, it's anything over 3.5, it makes the fish really, for some reason, don't want to bite it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to watch what's going on here.
I hear you. I think so. I mean, what you're trying to point out here is, troll speed. If you're above 3.5, you're doing it wrong. And so a lot of guys may not be familiar with the option of back trolling with that current versus going against it. Because then, also doesn't your line angle weigh in if you're swinging way beyond 45 degrees heading upriver and it's pushing out hard and your speed's too high? It all kind of comes together. You got a couple different factors to take in, don't you?
Yeah, and when you do start to see that, so like on those first 4 or 5 days when we were when we're trolling against the incoming tide down at the buoy, trying to target that saltwater, that's the time when you want to switch over to your divers. Generally, any time that I can't keep a good 45-degree line angle on the back rods of my boat with 10-ounce lead, if I'm having to use heavier than that on my back rods to keep my fronts and back separated, that's the time to put on divers. The other thing too is also when you're fishing those heavier depths. But so the first part of the fishery with those big tides, for me, it was a diver show. And now that we're at the softer tides and we want to be dredging the bomb, the leads come into play for sure.
Cameron, run us through the drill with the water temperatures, because one of the things that also kind of dictates the way fish move, in addition to the tide, is kind of what they detect once they have pulled into the river. I mean, the fish will not necessarily automatically commit to moving upriver depending on water temperatures. What do you see there?
So when they're flushing in and out, anything, 69 degrees, 68 degrees and above, we're seeing less fishing. However, the last couple days, I think these fish are washing in with the incoming tide, and then they're holding in blind channel and on the Oregon side as well. So now where we weren't catching fish the first 4 or 5 days if the water temperature wasn't in the, I'd say 62 and below. Like basically we were fishing some, ocean water. And now that these fish have kind of flushed in a little bit, I think these softer tides aren't pushing them out. And so we are finding fish in, like right now, hold on a sec, we just caught a nice Chinook, about 12-pounder, and the water is 67.3 here, and I'm above the bridge. I think they're holding in it now. I don't necessarily know if they're going to be charging up the river anytime soon. They might kind of stay in these channels, which obviously makes it better for us down here.
Yeah.
But it definitely, I'd say it was a bigger factor earlier in the season, but now, like I said, they're holding up and they're letting us get them.
So how's the boat traffic thus far? I mean, we're the first week into it here, and guys are starting to wrap their head around the fact that a lot of guys go into it setting their time frame for second, third week, looking at the tides and whatnot. And as you said, the tides have flipped and it's getting to be optimal. A lot of guys are also finding out they could have been fishing it all through July and doing very well. So how's the boat traffic so far compared to most years?
Boat traffic's pretty heavy. I mean, one thing about this fishery is word gets out. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I was commenting. There's a lot of heroes in this fishery. So there's a lot of word, a lot of excitement,
Yeah.
a lot of fish. I mean,
man.
it's 2 million fish, right? They're going to come piling in the river, and they're going to be in little channels, and we're going to whack them. But boat traffic hasn't been bad. I'm not sure about the ramps. I'm more down here.
Yeah.
Yesterday got a little busy above the bridge just because the wind really kind of shut out the lower part of the river. But it is what it is. There's a reason why there's the boat traffic.
Well, it's a big
reason why.
There's
a lot of fish.
There is a lot of fish, and it's a big playground. You're looking at an area of approximately 15 miles by 4 miles wide. So there's a lot of area to cover, and there'll be several thousands of our friends down there, Shangle, very soon. So
go to www.gonecatchin.com. You can call 360-921-5079. Put gonecatchin.com on your favorites list, because this is the guy that you'll want to talk to throughout the course of the season, not just Buoy 10, but pretty much the entire year. Cameron, thank you very much for the information, my friend. We'll see you later.
Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.
All right, have a good day. Already into the fish. Chinook. This will be a turning week of more Chinook than coho. You watch. Yep, based on tides. If you listen to what Cameron said, there's a good reason for that. So.
We just happen to be there in 2 days. How about that?
Oh, yeah. We're going to get some nice size Chinook in 2 days. Guarantee.
Let's take a super quick break, last break of the morning. When we come back, we'll go up to the north end. We haven't had a chance to really talk too much about the Skagit River.
Been a few
weeks. We're going to go ahead and change that.
Yeah.
We're going to change that a little bit. Yeah, Skagit River, Baker Lake. Cal Stocking of Cause for Divorce Guide Service gives us a report when we return to Sports Radio 950 KJR and Comcast Sportsnet Northwest.